Hi, welcome to the Leighton Inclusion Interview Show, where we talk about the difference between kindness and cruelty with an emphasis on kindness. And today we're going to be talking about connecting with people, stoicism, music, and Wiccan with my friend Linda Viens. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I am very well. I'm very happy to be talking to you. What a treat.
It's a treat here. I met Linda through one of my friends, Robin Lane, but also a record label that the late great Justine ran. And Linda leads a band called Girl with a Hawk, and she's been in a variety of bands in New England. And early 2025, she was inducted into the New England Music Hall of Fame. So I've got Boston rock historians cheering you on, like Brett Milano, who was like, "This is going to be a great interview." And I'm very thankful to him for patting us on the back.
Thank you, Brett. I love that man.
All right, before we go backwards and going into all your activities, I want to work on Girl with a Hawk, which is an interesting name,
Hmm?
and you have to tell me about the the name first.
It's so interesting, Anne, because the name really truly was one of those poetic inspiration moments. I had read this incredible novel that's now a movie. It's out right now called Hamnet, by Maggie O'Farrell.
Uh-huh.
And it's in the theaters right now, actually. They made it into a movie. But it's a stunning novel. It's about Shakespeare's early life. And he was married to a woman named Anne Hathaway, who was considered to be quite witchy, who was an herbalist, who was a bit older than he was. And in the novel, and in real life, I guess, based on the research, I think it was very well researched, um, she had a trained falcon that would come to her out of the woods and land on her arm and was like a pet.
Sweet.
And I happened to be walking in the woods in the fells with a friend on a wintry day, and I saw a hawk flying overhead and land, and the phrase just popped into my head. I don't even know why. I It just came, girl with a hawk. Hmm. Um, but what's funny about it is when I thought about it later, and I brought it down to the band, it was in 2021, and I just started working with a bunch of friends on material I had finished, and um, we didn't have a band name yet. And when I mentioned it, my dear friend Richard Lamphere, who's in Girl with a Hawk, said, "First thought, best thought. Don't overthink it. Just you had the thought. Use it. It's great."
Right. Yeah. That is magic. I like that idea. And the band is co-ed.
It's co-ed. Yeah, there's t two women, myself and our drummer Nancy Delaney is a woman, and
Girl
she's a
power.
badass, like really incredibly good drummer and such a character and so strong and so dry and funny. I just love her. So really lucky. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Totally. Um, and the song I'm in love with my friends, that's got a Boston hang in it. I like that song.
Thank you.
Tell me about that song because there's a press release more that you
Um, yeah, that song, I did write that song during COVID, and it was I I was working with Adam Sherman and all the guy and Larry Dersh and the guys in Back Porch Carousel. We had um they had asked me to be part of this amazing thing where we went on Zoom and raised money and took turns performing. Randy Black, Sarah Levesque, Peter Zarkadis, and then we added Eric Martin, who's a genius later on. But that song was born out of just just being so anxious to be able to be with friends and gather and all the restrictions around it. I didn't have a pod. I'm single. My daughter was living up in New Hampshire. Um, I just recognizing that maybe my art form, which is playing music, live music in front of an audience, or dance or theater, or all performance might not actually be viable. Like there, so much was on the line with COVID
Right.
around our tribal need to gather, make music together, dance together, gather in dark, small places and experience the magic of art, right? Movies, movie theaters. I was like, are you telling me I'll never go to a movie theater again? What? I, I was so distraught and concerned um and also the song is really about, well, it's a couple of layers, but it was also realizing that people would often ask me about being single or if I was dating or had met anyone, and I realized, at some point, like, my friends are my ballast, my friends are my home, my friends are my tribe, and they've really seen me through all of life, even when I was married, even when I was with other people and having long-term monogamous relationships. My friends are really the foundation of my, I don't know, my peace, my strength, my inspiration, and that was enough. And I didn't have to find a partner to feel like I'm in love and I'm happy and I'm having a romantically inclined life even by myself.
That's absolutely true what you're saying. I like the idea of and by the way, that noise is just me and my cat knocking things over.
I love it.
My
Nothing
cat's
wrong with
super
that.
noisy.
As they do, as they do.
So I really like the whole idea of the friend and inclusion, which is my favorite word. And I just like that show. And I like that you pinpointed a venue in Boston. I mean, this is definitely a Boston hang or
Yeah,
Boston hang.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Plow and Stars was where many of us have played and known each other from, and was one of the first venues that we raised money for. So it's just near and dear to our hearts. And as you know, so many folk artists came through there and played there, and Van Morrison and all these amazing heroic figures have been in
Oh
that
yeah.
space. So, to be in that space, there's a sacredness to the plow. Um,
There is. I like the, yeah, sacredness is a great word. And the band names that you've had through the years are also have this beauty to them
Thank
as
you.
well. And I just feel like you've always been a writer. Uh, Crown Electric Company, Children of Paradise. Before Girl with a Hawk, there was Kingdom of Love, which I'm just crazy over. And the personality changed from Kingdom of Love to Girl with a Hawk. I know that, right?
Yeah, it was a collaboration with this brilliant musician friend Richard Lamphere, who I met in the 80s, and then many, many years later we found our way to each other, and I was really had to be home, so it was very much as my daughter was in her teenage years and she had a lot of stuff going on with her, and I really had to be home. I really couldn't be in an active. The last active band I had was a band called Angeline with Emily Grogan, who's another great Boston artist.
Hmm.
And that was because I was still married and I could gig out, I could be out, and my daughter was young. But by the time she was 7, my husband and I had separated, and I needed to be home. So Richard was great because we just worked on Saturday afternoons and we just did studio recordings and wrote. And but then what happened to me was during COVID, um, I realized that all my life I had been collaborating with others and never really had total authority over my artistry. I never had total autonomy to just say, this is how it's going to sound. This is what I want. I want trumpet. I want this. I want that. I'd always had to ask permission with a collab.
Mm.
And I think I was like, I need to have that before I leave this world. I need to have full
Yeah,
control.
taking your voice, yeah, taking control and saying, I mean, COVID did. I have to, this is 5 years later, 4 or 5 years later, because it did continue into 2021 and 2022. I know how afraid I was to go to shows in
Yes,
big venues during that whole time.
absolutely.
And yeah, so, and working with the bigger bands, like I work with Jethro Tull. I do their tour press. They're probably not going to tour the States anymore, but they toured about 2023,
Wow.
and that was it. And I was wearing a mask. Most people weren't at that show, but
Yeah.
it took that long for their booking agent to get the date to be permanent, the dates, US dates to be permanent. And in Europe, their agent would be booking 2020, late 2020. No, that's not gonna, we got to kick the shows forward. And I think all Ian maybe did was were a couple of outdoor dates
Mm.
during the first few years afterwards, or the first year afterwards.
Wow. That must be amazing working with them. That must be
Yeah.
really what a that's iconic. That's really special.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot, definitely, and I'm still learning. He's one of us in the sense that he wants to see people treated right. I had a client that was a douchebag, and he was the first one to tell me to look out for that person, and he was so right. Just
Nuts.
after like one or two meetings.
Wow. He intuited it. He knew. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I think if you're an intuitive person and you really care, I mean, you probably came into the world that way, right? I mean, I didn't even really register that it says the Ann Leighton Inclusion Interview Show, right? So you're putting your ethos right out there for all to see by just choosing that word to have in the name. But do you, just to turn the interview around for a second, but do you feel that when you were little, were you also really interested in people and kind of aware of how people treated each other?
Y-
Because I did.
Yes,
I definitely
yes,
did.
but I learned to I would I was told that I would bully people, and there were some people that I was a bully to, but for the most part I didn't like those people or I stood up to them. So I was a mixture. I still had
Understood.
ego
Sure.
issues, but yeah, I mean, I felt the My Lai massacre when I saw the photo of the young lady running, that affected me,
Yeah,
or losing a cat or watching a cat that I didn't know get hit by a car, or
right.
yeah, seeing my mom suffer for I knew her sickness before anybody in my family did,
Wow.
y- when she got ill.
Wow.
No, there were certain things. You too?
Yeah, I mean, I think in my situation, maybe I was more hypersensitive to it because I grew up in a pretty violent household. My dad, who was a good man, and I love him, and he taught me so much. He was a very powerful, strong, interesting guy. Um, but he beat all the kids, all four kids, like pretty a lot, like all our lives when we were little.
Hmm.
That constant threat of violence made me, I think, just super high. And also, I was the oldest, so I was protecting my brothers and my little sister. And I think just was aware, like, people don't have to, we don't have to harm each other. Like, we can, but I also knew early on that most people that harm others are angry and hurt themselves. And so the
Yeah,
bullying that you describe, I mean, most bullies have been hurt and they're hurt, they're also hurting. And like we are human. I mean, I bullied people when I was in elementary school. I know I did. I
yeah.
definitely
It
wasn't
it was
not like little
elementary.
angels. We're kids learning how to be civilized, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think I did as a grown up. There were a few folks here and there that I excluded because they scared me. And I certainly did my share of reaching and trying to help mini Trumps here and there.
yep.
And I call them mini Trumps, people that we should not be. There's so many talented people in our business, but some people just are entitled. And
I
that's
know.
what I
Exactly. And I think that's what I always sensed and could sort of sense and smell was my one thing because I love people and I get a big kick out of people, all kinds of care. Everywhere I go,
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
nut magnet. I mean, literally a friend, we'll just meet an Uber driver and just be like, you're wise and deep beyond your years, sir.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you know, but I think what I always knew was wrong, morally wrong, was somebody believing they were superior to others. I think that's what always bothered me, whether somebody acted like they were superior to me because I wasn't from the right class or didn't go to the right schools or whatever it was, or, wasn't good looking enough or whatever. I, when you just meet certain people that are maybe they're wealthy or maybe they're entitled, but you can tell they actually do believe that they're better. You're
Yeah,
like, no, you don't actually spiritually have a superiority. That's just not real. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, that took me a long time to get. That really did. Not until like my late 50s, where there were people locally, politically in the Bronx, our
yeah,
elected politicians are people that run the parties, and they're all uh, putting down people that are homeless or trying to get homeless people. I don't know, just walk away from them. And meanwhile, rent is raising like crazy here. So, and you call their offices and say, "Hey, the person that works in your party is bullying me. I think you guys need to set example." And it's crickets. They don't respond to that.
wow.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like what just happened with Trump calling people the Somalian people garbage.
Oh, that was
You're
horrible.
just like I know we don't want to go down that
Or
rabbit hole.
Rob Reiner, you know. Oh man, what?
I know. Just the just indecency of it. I mean, so yeah, I'm sure you've had to, I mean, I think there's plenty of people who just step over people in the street and don't see the humanity and don't get
Yeah,
that there's a story there. And I mean, I've had enough experience at this point. My brother was in prison. My brother was a heroin addict. I have a lot of people who are sober in my life. My daughter's sober. My sister's sober. She was an alcoholic. Like, you know, it's a disease and it takes out money, the highest level of wealth. That
yeah.
doesn't really matter. It obviously if you have less resources, it's harder to get out of that hole. But yeah, to think that to look us to just not notice people or see the humanity there or believe that we should help the most marginalized people in our society, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, we all need help definitely, and we could talk about this forever for sure. What
I know.
kind of charities did your group Back Porch Carousel, which was a collective charity group?
Yes.
Who all did you guys and gals help?
In our couple of years of doing it, we did like a lot of the venues. We raised money for because we didn't quite do it once a month. Um, Probably it was every 6 weeks or so when I'm thinking back to it. But we raised money for Sally O'Brien's, we raised money for the Plow and Stars, we raised money for oh gosh, I mean many of the venues. I think the Lizard Lounge, Toad, um, we just kept whatever was open back then. I mean, some places are gone now, and then we did some other things, like I was doing food, um, helping people with meals in Dorchester. We
Thank
helped
you.
that organization, and we did a bunch of different things. And it was really wonderful. It was really a wonderful way to feel less helpless, like we could do something.
How did you put together this group? I mean, what advice do you have for someone I'm a local model and I wanna work with people in my community to raise funds to help X, Y, and Z. How do you get the ball rolling on that?
I mean, a common way, like I just with a group of friends, not my band, but other friends, we just did a benefit for the ACLU.
Thank
One
you.
way to do it is to think about putting on a an event. Obviously sometimes people have done, if you know somebody that has a nice home, if they're open, they could do a house concert. Um, or you can ask a venue to donate space, like for this ACLU benefit. We did it at the Burren, and they just knew that all the funds were going to support the ACLU, which was really kind. And so putting on an event, I think is a really good way to, and then you ask people to perform for, $0, and but then you have to promote it and do all those things. Um, Obviously just volunteering anywhere. There's so many organizations that need support.
Yeah.
Um,
I, yeah. Contacting the organization saying, hey, what can we do? And
what can
do
we do?
it
Where,
is it
yeah.
yeah. Is admission higher for these events? They are, aren't they?
What does that mean again?
Like when the okay, I do projects with the Bronx County Historical
Oh, very,
Society,
yeah.
but every year they're doing, in fact, I think January 26th, a week after I'm doing a free event on January 18th with them for Edgar Allan Poe's birthday. He has the
Oh,
Poe Cottage and with poets, all the local poets are going to read, but it's completely free. It's inviting the community and it does get the poets to work on their poems about something that Poe inspired them to write.
that's very cool.
Yeah, so that's free. But the following week, the Bronx County Historical Society is doing a big Italian dinner, and it's $250 per head, but and with other kinds of donations that people can give.
Right, right. That's
So it's
great. That's a
fundraising.
great two punch. You know, you've got enough of a wealthy community that you can put on something where people are going to spend $250, but also to do something that's really community based and free to all is awesome.
Yeah. So it's that's what I meant when I asked, is admission to the community events that um a big price or something like that?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't quite hear it properly. I know what you
It's
mean.
okay.
For this, it was. We did charge because that was going towards the ACLU. We did do tickets, but something that's really cool that's happening right now that you probably have heard about is this Witch Side series. Um, Jim Sullivan, who's one of the music writers for the Globe, great guy. He and
Jim, yeah.
he wrote a book about protest music, and so he and Joyce Linehan, who's like a local activist. I don't know if you know her, but she's a great person. Worked for Marty Walsh, super smart, incredibly active locally and politically. She and he together created the series that they're doing it was at the Lizard Lounge, now it's at the Burn. It's happening tomorrow night, actually. Um, and their model is pay what you want. So you can reserve a ticket and do $0, or you can reserve a ticket and pay $50.
Nice. Yeah. And
So
by the
that's
way, this is actually happening tonight, Tuesday, at the Burren.
yes,
We're
tonight. Yes,
yeah,
right.
Tuesday the
Tuesday,
16th of
December
December.
16th at the Burn. Maybe sold out, but still you can walk up and give whatever you feel like donating, and that money also goes to the ACLU, I'm pretty
Right.
sure.
And if you miss that event, there will be other events that jimsullivaninc.com. send him a note. He'll write you back, especially if you say that Linda and Ann sent you.
No, yeah, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of people doing everything they can right now to motivate people to call their congressmen and women and write-in campaigns. I mean, there's just a lot we're going to have to do to get out the vote for the smaller elections and the bigger elections. So
Right.
always lots of labors of.
Absolutely. How did you initially get involved with the whole Boston scene? What was the impetus? Because I know that music has been in you since you were a kid. When your dad, at least, he gave you your first guitar at
Yes,
age
I love my
13.
dad. Love you, Pops.
Yeah, he just was. My dad was hard on me
Trouble.
too.
Trouble. Um, but I was really lucky because when I was going to Mass College of Art, well, two things happened. One was I got a job at the In Square Men's Bar in 1979. And so I was like, I don't even, how old was I? Um,
Still in college.
22, 21 or something. And
Okay.
still in college, still at Mass Art. And I got a job there and it was mind blowing because before that I had started at Mass Art and I was working at the Cafe Algiers in Harvard Square, but I wasn't really, I was more like kind of, when I was a kid, I would play Neil Young and the Stones and learn all the songs, but I didn't, I was more academic in high school and more poetry and English literature based, but um, I just fell into the scene of the most vibrant, unbelievably eclectic music scene. The In Square Men's Bar would have like reggae one night, blues the next night, punk the next night, new wave, rock and roll, heavy metal. I mean, I don't even know if it existed, but more classic rock, um,
Hmm.
folk, just unbelievable, big band, jazz, and I just I just Boston was so vibrant. There were so many clubs and
Yeah.
then we just started, discovering, cantones and then when the In Square closed, I got a job at the Rat in 1985.
Classic band. Yep. Or
Yeah.
classic venue rather. Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point I had already my first band was in 81. So I realized the beauty of punk, and I've said this in many interviews, but the beauty of punk rock was like my first band I played drums just because you could just decide you were going to do it. No, a lot of people were not trained and a lot of women got to be in bands for the first time. That's one of the most feminist, beautiful advances I feel was that punk embraced women and the Slits and so many Boston
Yeah.
Bound and Gagged, Dangerous Birds, Salem 66. Eventually the Bristols came along, but like
Wow.
great musical, brilliant co-ed bands and punk bands. And I think the British scene really facilitated a lot of that influence on America because
Sure.
so many around when Gang of Four was forming in England. I think they were from Leeds maybe, but
Oh
there were
yeah.
so many women that were like, I'm just gonna pick up a guitar and play guitar. And that was
Right.
before I'd been exposed to like Patti Smith, and I think I was probably exposed to her in maybe like 79 and then maybe Chrissy Hine
And there
at
was Blondie too that was coming. I mean, they
Blondie.
were eclectic.
Yeah. And to be honest, I know I've said this also many times, but seeing Robin Lane on stage at the In Square Men's Bar changed my life. It
I
just
believe it.
it changed my life because I had only had acoustic guitars. I never had had an electric guitar, and that was probably 79 maybe. Um, and she was wearing a like an army jumpsuit and
Right.
was so cool and had like a shag haircut. And it was the first time also that I had seen a woman fronting a band. And secondly, being more like one of the guys, which was always how I wanted to be. In all my bands, I never did like the fishnetty, like I liked high tops and jeans and t-shirts.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I'm still kind of like that even now. I just prefer pants and jackets but
Yeah, I hear you.
I
Comfort.
lots of beautiful women that do the super sexy thing, and God bless them too. Um, but when I saw Robin, it was the first time I realized, okay, you can be my like one of the boys. You don't have to be like this lead singer, female lead singer out front, like the
Yeah,
singer-songwriters like Carol King or um, you know, Carly,
Carly Simon. Yeah.
like that. And who were also fantastic. I just knew, no, I'd want to be like the Faces. I want to be like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Right.
Chrissy Hine was then the next example of that for me, I think probably.
Sure. Yeah. No, I remember about 1985, 86. I met Carla DeVito through on the phone through an interview. She had come up through the Boston scene and she kept talking about Orchestra Luna. And this was 86, 87-ish. And I just started doing it deep. Subscribed to the Beat
Yeah,
for for and I loved it and I started sending some of my national interviews to them. But I just remember every month getting a copy of the Beat and just slurping it up so
yeah,
much.
that's so
So
great. So, because you were always were you part of the New York Lower East Side scene?
no, I've never I mean I certainly would go to CB's. I went
Yeah,
there about 10 times. I've gone to some very corny places as well as some folksy places. But I was working in a national rock magazine from about 1986 through 94-ish,
that's amazing.
93, 94, and that was my energy. But there were so many bands that wrote to Hit Parader from all over the country.
Yes.
And I would write back to both the bands and the fans, not everybody, but enough people
Yeah.
that move me the right way and say, you stick with it, you keep going, or I'm
Yeah.
sorry we can't publish you, but this is what we're looking for our magazine. And that was it.
Wow. So you, from a very young age, were really immersed in the commercial industry of rock and roll and music because you were a journalist and a writer writing for a
Right.
big magazine.
Right. And I would periodically network people to some major or some big indie labels. But I probably had more of an impact helping writers get ahead back then.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's very
But
cool.
I worked a little bit with Helen Wheels, actually. I helped her get a gig in New Rochelle, and I
Very
wrote a
cool.
lot of articles, and we were friends. I'm remembering that. So there are some that I did like hands-on growth, and Helen was just like a sister. She helped me through a rough patch in my life previous to that.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that was a magical. She was empathic, and I have a feeling that well, I know that she did a lot of uh, uh, ritual type healings in her
Very,
life. Yeah, like tattoos and things like that.
yeah, yeah, interesting. But
Yeah,
it's fun to talk to you because you did have a different orientation, which was New York City,
yeah,
and I was so in Boston but there was just such a vibrancy. I don't know if you you probably haven't because I don't know if it's screened in New York, but there's this new film out, Another Planet, I think it's called, that was just playing at the Regent that is about the Rat and the Boston music scene from like 75 to 85
wow,
made by a guy from GBH. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering his name off the top of my head. Fantastic film. Um, One of a bunch of films now that have come out about Boston music. There was a documentary about Chet's Last Call, and um, there's been a bunch of them, but this one was very well done because it had a lot of footage of Boston in the 70s, and it was really just talking about how gritty and sort of nasty and dirty the Boston punk scene was. It was really
yeah,
like
yeah,
it was like Boston was dirty. None of this like refined, gentrified Boston that we have today. It was like you had rent control and you were scrappy and you know, you. had your leather jacket and you just, everyone was surviving. It was definitely kind of a working class
There,
scene.
yeah, there are parallels. At one point, about 1990, I took a Amtrak to Boston, and I met with the program director of WZL. I think it was WZLX, because I was
Mhm.
trying to get a job on the station,
Uh,
and we ended up becoming friends for life. He segued out of that to talk radio, and I'm actually going to interview him down the line, Mike Harrison.
that's so fun.
But but I remember looking at the newspapers and trying to figure out how I would be able to make it in Boston on my salary because the rents were so high, starting to climb then.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember that. So it changed like in less than 5 years, less than 10 years.
Like
Like,
10 years. Yeah, I'd say 75 to 85, you were living so cheaply in lofts and there was a huge loft scene and a lot of bands got started in lofts and at loft parties and but you could afford to live. I mean, I worked as a bartender a couple nights a week. I graduated from Mass Art and then I've worked in coffee shops, but you didn't have to, you could have a life as an artist because you could afford the rent.
right. Yeah,
That's the
now I don't, and this is the same all over because we do have documentarians from all over North America, from Missouri to Los Angeles to New York, that
Mm.
are St. Louis rather, that are making stories about how life has changed. I mean, you've seen life change, and actually, I wrote this out. You've watched the world change since the since becoming a grown up as a
Yes.
teenager on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great privileges of aging, right? Is that you have an arc, then you have this arc of time where you see what was. And one of the things my friends and I talk a lot about, to your question and point, is that I'm not a digital native. That when we came of age, it was a totally analog world. And I am so glad that my youth was spent lying in fields and reading poetry and smoking weed and and playing guitars and being around fires and being in the woods and or going into New York City and just but you were living in the world and you were looking up at the sky, you weren't looking at this device. Your world was
No,
entirely your worldview was world in the world and everything was handmade and everything was you ripped your clothes and put safety pins on them and you just you made your own flyers, you made your own posters, it was so creative and artistic, at least in my realm. I mean, obviously somebody else might have been going to med school and living, but still, no matter who you were in the world, you were not on screens
no,
until the mid 90s, right? Or whenever it really hit. Um, and I feel for the kids. I remember just my daughter is the exact demographic of they said that like mental illness for girls and depression and anxiety accelerated like 200% when social media was born. And my
yes.
daughter's the exact age of puberty, 13, when social media was born, 2004, I think. Or maybe it's later. I don't know the dates exactly, but um, because she was 13, so it would have been later. But the point is just that raising a kid and watching them, their attachment to the screens and the devices, and then developing our own attachments to computers and devices and social media. It's been really fascinating to watch and observe.
Yeah, this is the only world they know. You and I were emailing each other and you wrote about your paper calendar, which I also use. I have
It's
written on my
hysterical.
Mutts, it's a Mutts wall calendar. Um,
It's
Santa's
to actually look
walking the
at.
dog. But on the 15th, Linda Viens
Yeah,
Zoom, 7 p.m.
7
So I
p.m.
see
Yeah,
Zoom written. I just go through my email, find Zoom,
yeah.
and click the thing, and voila, here we are
Voila. And
online.
but it does, I am revealing my, olderness when I tell, like, I just have never adapted to putting dates on this. I just am like, I no, I
Yeah.
I just
I
don't want to.
I do know how to do that because I've had clients that have requested everything be sent to them via either via email,
Yep.
um, through their Google Calendar or
Right.
whatever calendar they're
Right.
using. So yeah, I do that. And the only time you showed your cell phone, I have my cell phone charging. Or it's not charging, it's on my bed
Yeah.
in my bedroom right now. But that's the only time I'll get a Google alert is when I have to do it for somebody that needs an interview or something like that. Because
Right.
I'll Google alert myself or something like that.
Oh yeah, and I'll set a reminder sometimes for someone's birthday or I mean, I think it's an incredible tool. I don't belittle it at all. I am not one of those people that would ever say like I hate technology or I hate I mean, I am definitely have like the paranoia around AI that I think many people my age have, but I think it's an I want to advance with some kind of grace. I don't want to just poo-poo everything that is now. I want to roll with the times and be open to like I mean, we have better pacemakers, right? We have better medicines for diabetes. We have better humans just can't help themselves. They seem to just be wildly creative and inventive. And I mean, we
Yeah.
built bridges, we built everything, we made canoes, and now this is
Yeah.
just an extension of our desire and sort of insatiable curiosity. So I don't reject it out of hand. I think it's just more that I think helping others, maybe the younger generation, recognize you 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 don't want to miss looking at the sky. You know, you don't want to miss talking to a stranger on the bus because you were just completely, you're missing out on certain experiences
Right. Or
by
writing with your hand.
or writing with your hand. Exactly. How do you write? Do you free
I do both. Because I was trained in news,
right?
so I could automatically write my thoughts on a typewriter and then just pen, pen or pencil edit it before I
Mhm.
read it out loud. I did radio news, so that's
That's
how I wrote. So, and now with the computer, I can write a first draft and then go back and make it better, uh,
yes. Yes.
without using paper. Although, here we go. I mean,
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
where do you, so TV, but I watch my television online. And right now, I just finished watching Nashville, and I'm kind of watching and checking out whatever Callie Curry, she produced Nashville, whatever movies I haven't. So for the first time in my life, I saw Thelma and Louise, but her other movies, especially Respect, which starred Jennifer Hudson, I've
Yes.
watched already. So I feel a kindred with this woman. So
Yeah.
what are you watching on TV and where are you watching it?
Well, thank you for reminding me about Nashville because I remember when it came out, I did not have whatever streaming platform it was. What did
Hmm.
you watch it on? I'm just curious.
Netflix.
Okay, great. Because it wasn't always, I think it was somewhere else, and I have very limited streaming. But um I really wanted to watch that because I heard it was great.
It's
And
worth
I
it.
love that director too. I Oh gosh, my new favorite show right at the moment is I Love LA with by Rachel Sennett, who's a young
Hmm.
actress. It kind of picks up where girls left off. It's kind of a scathing indictment of current youth, but in this very loving, funny, brilliant way. And she's absolutely adorable and kind of crazy. And it's about influencers and the business and showbiz. It's really good. It's on HBO. It's really, really great.
Okay. Sounds
I
like something.
love
It does
pop
sound.
culture, so I love
Yeah,
pop.
and I
Yeah.
love girl movies. I've seen like there was a British UK show about a girl that considered herself an ugly duckling and became a model because she just had the right look and they just dolled her up.
I love
I
all.
don't
I
remember what
love
it was, but I watched it in adolescence and
so
two
fun. I
others.
mean, I'm a very high-low person. Like, I love the most esoteric, kind of philosophical contemplation podcast books, but or art stuff. But I also love like I love a period piece about history, but I also love Emily in Paris. I love
Hmm. Oh, I gotta
girls.
watch that too.
I love it has to be smart though. It has to be like at least
Yeah.
clever. But I'm also committed to watching The Wire this winter because I've never seen it. And I know that's an iconic show.
Mm.
Although I think it's going to be rough and kind of depressing, but that's okay. But I can only
I
like one
Yeah.
time. What about you?
Well, I'm just starting Homeland. I love Claire Danes, and I actually have a friend that's in a later season, Michael O'Keefe.
Oh,
And yeah, he grew up near me. We grew up, went to the same high school and
love it.
whatever. I kept running into him through the years. And then, so I'm watching Homeland, but I do like some of those smart, savvy
Me
shows.
too.
I saw,
You
oh,
know,
Supernatural.
oh
That
goodness.
was, that's a great ensemble. And it's two brothers going through the country trying to find their father, but along the way, after they kill demons, basically. But it's smart, it is tear-jerking, and it can be funny. And
That
there
sounds
there are
great.
great actors, like seriously great actors, including the guy Dean is a great actor, as well as other characters. I mean, it's well written and it's got a classic rock musical background
Oh, that
with a little Taylor Swift thrown in there.
I, I'm a Taylor
Yeah,
fan. Um,
cool. Fist
but
bump.
I that sounds great. I love recommendations. I did just watch something I devoured and loved, The Diplomat.
Yes,
Oh my
I just
God.
saw it. Oh my
Wasn't
God,
I was obsessed. I first of all, she
she's a
is so
yeah,
cool. So cool. Um, and yeah, I just thought the writing was so good and that whole world and the political world and that was really fun. That was really fun.
yeah. That's really conspiratorial meets
I know
marriage
background,
dynamics and the hell
politics.
she's going through and and it it's almost like she's sane and crazy at the same time, but brilliant. And she is the smartest one in the room, I think.
And then Allison Janney is also was divine in that, I thought. She plays the president.
Ah, yes, she is.
She's
Yeah,
one
I mean,
of my all-time favorites.
it seemed like in season two, it seemed like she changed the diplomat's life with
Yeah,
her slam down of what it takes to be a leader and how image is important and this, that, and the other thing.
yeah,
Yeah, but there were some deep, deadly secrets that she spewed out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was so good. I tried to look for the Americans because what's the actress's name? And I'm blanking on it. Who was the lead in The Diplomat? What's her name?
Felicity,
No.
no, and I was Googling her the other day to find out who she was because I was trying to, the actress she played Felicity. Don't worry, we'll post it.
We'll figure it out. Because this is the other thing about aging is like the file cabinet sometimes faulty wiring. It's so humbling. It's like my friends and
Right,
I
right.
remember that
Carrie
movie.
Russell.
Thank you.
You're
My friends
welcome.
and I will be like trying to describe a movie or a show to each other, and we just don't have enough information. We're like flying blind. It was like, no, you can't just say that guy. Like,
Right.
gotta have a name. It's so fun.
Absolutely.
We laugh so hard. Gotta be,
Okay.
yes.
Absolutely. I want to cover two more topics with you before we close because there's Stoicism and then there is I need some Wiccan celebrations. You are one that celebrates the Wiccan faith, religion? What is it?
I'd say spiritual practice.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, great. What was the first one? The second one's the rituals. The first was the one right
One
before.
is what Stoicism is
Oh,
about because
yes.
this is, yeah, and this is something because I actually periodically watch the Daily Stoic with Ryan Holiday. He's just
Yes.
marvelous, especially when he wears his Iron Maiden shirt. So, but
I'm obsessed with him. Yeah, I the Stoics have changed my life. I came to the Stoics late in life. A friend had sent me a book by Marcus Aurelius, I would say about 15 years ago, called Meditations, which is the main book that he wrote, a journal he kept literally as he ran, hundreds of campaigns of the Roman soldiers into Germania and England and Ireland and, just such an
history.
incredibly brilliant dude. But he's not the founder of Stoicism, but he was studying Epictetus and Seneca. But but meditate when I read Meditations, I realized there is no higher guide for living because the it's so it combines everything we know about sort of New Age philosophy, like Eckhart Tolle, and what we know about Buddhism, in that it is about like do not judge your neighbor. It's an inside job. You work on being the best human you can be. All that matters is how you treat people. Don't waste your energy criticizing others, judging others. Forgive the fact that humans are a really mixed bag, you know, and people might be rude and they might be mean and they might steal and they might even try to kill you. But and so many books in recent decades, like The Four Agreements. I know Eckhart Tolle studied the Stoics. Sort of the great contemporary philosophers use Stoic principles, as does AA and NA, the big book.
Hmm.
Um, just this idea that we are our neighbor's keeper. They also were the ones to create the idea of hive mind, that a society is only as healthy as its most least citizen, that we're completely
Sweet.
one and connected, which is such a radical concept to have been coming out in 50 BC through 100 AD really is when the Stoics were really thriving and teaching. And just this idea of practicing tolerance and
Yeah,
being so quick to throw stones um and also accepting your life. Like I have a tattoo, Amor Fati, um, which I can't get a clear picture of it. But means love your fate, love your story. Like there's so much about forgiving. So many people have been abused. So many people have been sexually assaulted. So many people have been
right.
hurt, abandoned, betrayed. It's how do you move on from that? And one of my favorite Stoic principles is the hottest fires make the strongest steel, that this idea that our suffering doesn't just teach us, but it actually makes us deeper, better people. And that really changed my life when I grasped that idea.
Absolutely. Um, I always had a phrase, be your own best fan, biggest fan.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Your
And
clients and just people you worked with, and or just anyone.
myself,
Yeah.
be my cheerleader because no one's going to cheer. No one will, in this business, people are less apt to cheer you on. Like if you go to a
Yeah.
party and everybody is in show business and they're like, oh, so I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that and blah blah blah. How are you doing? Oh, let me ask you what you think of me. That type of thing.
That type of thing, which I was just describing to you earlier,
Yeah,
that
before we
I won't
started.
say where because God forbid someone hears this, but that party I went to where, yeah, it was just I've got a show and like you have to as a creative toot your own horn. I mean, you do, but hopefully you also say, "Hey, how are you doing? How's the slog
Yeah,
going for you?"
yeah, let's lift each other up. I think I saw a quote from I saw, okay, she's our age. Cynthia Rothrock posted on Facebook something in the past day about lifting other people up. And I just was like, right on, girl.
Right on. And that is something Justine, just shout out to Justine Koval from Red on Red because she created a label and really promoted this ethos in Boston. I think it, been more of a boys' club in a certain way, although
Hmm.
I had nothing but love, but just this women lifting up other women, and she signed so many women. And then when she signed Robin Lane, I was like out of my mind. I was like so excited. I
I want
mean,
to join were you on the label before she
I
joined?
was.
Oh,
I
okay. So it's like,
yeah.
hi, Robin. I love you. Guess what?
Robin. Um, yeah, she was just amazing. It was so devastating for all of us
Yeah.
that she
Uh,
left too
yeah.
young.
We woke up one morning and everybody sent in Phoebe, actually Phoebe Leger, who I had right towards the end, I had introduced her to Justine because Phoebe grew up in Massachusetts. And I'm like, girl, I found the best label for you. Reach out, listen to these songs. I gave her the Bandcamp link, and she wrote back. It was like she didn't know anybody on the label, and she came back with Justine's band, Justine and the
Unclean.
Unclean. Yeah,
Yeah.
right, and Robin, and she was like, "I love these two. I love these two." And I'm like, "Oh man, you just chose the label heads favorite, label heads record." So boom, I
That
connected them. But
that's
within like 3 months, we lost her. So
I know. No, we got signed by her in January.
girl
Um,
with a ha.
Go with a Hawk did, yes, and then she died June 8th. And the
Wow.
day the night that she died, this just killed me, but I have a text thread from her, but she worked so hard for her artists. I mean, it was
Yeah.
unbelievable. We had had a single come out called The Romantic and in May, and the last text she sent me was, Linda, you've got to send me the artwork for The Romantic because I'm trying to get Rodney Bingenheimer out in LA to put it on his show. And like that's the last thing she said to me was like something totally of service, something
Yeah.
lift me up and my brand. And like wow, just
Well,
wow.
yeah, actually being of service, and that's a magic word. And I actually use that with government. So I'm going against stoicism now, or am I doing the right thing when I fight back and speak up to my government officials, even if they ignore me? Hey, why are you ignoring us? Is
Yeah.
that wrong or that's right?
No, that's right because you have to be an advocate for the for others. And no, the Stoics, there's no passivity to the ideas. In other words, just because they advocate, they are proponents of not judging others in a certain way. They really mean don't throw stones when you yourself have probably cheated and betrayed and lied. And they're not talking about not being an active member of society and fighting back and being part of the resistance. They
Right.
absolutely believe that. In fact, many famous Stoics, like Hadrian, who was the person that appointed Marcus Aurelius to be emperor, there's an incredible book called Hadrian's Memoir that is also his journal entries. He was living in like 50 AD. And he was the first openly queer emperor he was
Sweet.
openly gay man, lived his life as a gay man, even though he was married, he had to be. But he did so many reforms in Rome. He was the first person to outlaw like slaves being gladiators. I mean, they did still have slaves.
Wow.
Like he did a lot of very progressive things in the city, making sure everyone had bread and food. It was actually kind of democratic socialism in a certain way. I mean, there wasn't elections yet, I don't, but so
It was
that's a
leadership that he was
misnomer.
doing.
But senators were appointed, but it was a kind of socialism in that he believed that everyone should have food and care
Right.
and clean streets and housing and all those things. And
Yeah.
So those ideas are old.
Yeah. I actually call it investing in the peopleism as opposed to socialism because we are helping everybody to get on even footing. I don't remember what the quote was, but the weakest link, we have to lift that up.
Exactly, exactly. No, that, and you're right. And socialism, unfortunately, has become it's sort of outdated and has so many unfortunate connotations. People are very afraid of it. And then
Yeah,
when you tell them it's just like look at Holland, look at Amsterdam, look at London, look at Canada. It just means that education and healthcare are basically subsidized. So that if you're
yeah,
the waiter or the cab driver, yeah, or whatever, and you're not a hedge fund guy, you can take your mom to the hospital, or take your kid to the hospital, or go to the hospital yourself, or your kid can go to law school. Like I have a very dear friend in Amsterdam, and she was from an Armenian immigrant family, and she went to Harvard, she got to go to law school on the government's dime.
we have this New York City has this great energy because you have all these well-to-do companies that are underpaying their workers with who have to take two or three jobs. So by the time they retire, they don't have the type of nest egg or savings,
Right.
but yet the government is taking care of them so we don't become homeless. And I'm part of this. I get reduction rates for my electric bill and for a few other bills as a senior.
That's amazing. We don't have that in Boston. We have Mass Health, we have some really good services, but that's very cool.
Yeah.
Very
Well, I'm
cool.
very
Very,
thankful for that.
that's
We'll
awesome.
get there. I think at a certain point, uh, this whole Americans here in the United States will wake up and go, "Oh, I get it. We're supposed to help each other." Or we're not supposed to, we want to help each other.
Exactly. We want to. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do think that most people, obviously we know from 9/11, and we know from the Boston Marathon bombings, and we know how people are in crisis. Everyone comes together. No one in a crisis, if someone's harmed, no one's going, are you MAGA? Are you this? Are you that?
No.
Muslim? You just run to the crisis and help. Most
Yeah.
humans do that. Very few humans don't help when called upon.
Yeah.
I think we forget that we have these higher instincts.
I think it can be contagious. It'll get there.
It'll get there. I
Are
mean,
are there any rituals for the winter solstice that we can use to
yeah,
bring light to everybody?
yes, there's a couple of there. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do, but um, one thing is it's fun to write down. One little really simple ritual is to, you know, just kind of calm your space, have some low lighting, light a couple of candles, white candles or green candles for the winter solstice to evoke the starlight and the returning sun and the pines and the greenery. Yes, there we go. You're all ready, Anne.
I
Well
have a
done.
candle lit.
Got it going. Um, but it's a all ritual is really it's really nice to think about what you're releasing and what you're bringing in. And there's all different ways to release, like writing things you don't aren't useful anymore, to characteristics, habits, bad behaviors, maybe relationships, anything you're just releasing. You can write it, burn it, flush it down the toilet. If you were in the countryside, you can put it in a moving body of water, like a river. But this idea that we release what is no longer useful and we bring in what we want, what we're visualizing, what we want for the future, what we want for the world. And as a Wiccan, it's really important to always be never just asking for yourself. Whatever you're asking for yourself, like blessings or manifestations, always bring in the universal. Always say, and may all people know peace, or may all people not have food scarcity, or may all people find love, or, so one nice thing for the solstice in particular, because we're coming up on the new year, is to write down on a piece of paper what you're releasing. And so you do that part, and then write 12 wishes for the year, or 12 things you want to manifest on different pieces of paper, put them in a bowl, sort of mix them up, and then pull one from the bowl. That one thing is 100% your responsibility, but the other 11 wishes and manifestations, trust the universe, trust the gods,
Oh,
trust,
sweet.
trust the forces. They're going to assist you with those things. But the one thing you've pulled, you have to really sort of activate. It could be starting a new business or starting a new creative project or writing the novel you've always wanted to write or manifesting a relationship, or healing for yourself or someone else. But so it can be very broad as subjects, but what are you calling in? And then what are you going to sort of work towards?
I'm going to do that. And next December, we're going to do another interview.
Oh my gosh, I'm doing it too, and let's do that.
Okay.
Because then I wonder, when do we, yeah, it'd be interesting to pull that one and then open the other ones that we wrote.
Yeah.
Wait to open them. I don't know.
There is, yeah, because, okay, so I'm a diehard Christian like Jesus was,
Yes.
except I'm not a Capricorn. Happy
100%.
birthday, everybody that's a
Yes.
Capricorn. But are you a Capricorn? You're
I am.
January? Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and do you eat organic foods?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So you're the Chris Christopherson song. Jesus was a Capricorn.
That's so
All
funny.
right. So but I believe we do manifestations. We will pray for people. That's which is a clue. But we
Yeah.
also say, Lord, I'm weak here and I need your help. Help
That's
me.
help, asking for help, to be
Yeah.
aided. And that is something about Christian spirituality that I think praying is so powerful. And I think you can pray no matter what religion you are, and it just ask for blessings for people, ask for safety for yourself, for wellness. And I really do believe there are angels and beings
Yes,
and consciousness that are supporting us at all times and aiding us
absolutely.
and really assisting us. And my daughter's standing here asking me to
Hey,
say hi to Anne. I'm like,
Ruby.
she was
Ruby,
mouthing something. I'm
Ruby.
like, what do you need? But
We'll
yeah,
wind
there's
this
so much.
down.
And to bring in Christ at the time of solstice, of course, Christmas is also that beautiful Christ energy and the nativity, and he was just a blessed teacher, whatever you think about it, whether he was the son
Absolutely.
of God or not. I really believe that.
Yeah, I don't. I never knew of that conflict until I learned Turkish history or something like that.
Interesting.
So,
Yes.
but December 21st, winter
Yeah.
solstice, we're posting this a little bit early so that people can get ready and do what their 12 things are, 12
Yeah.
goals, things
Yeah.
that they would like to manifest. And it's a pleasure to talk with you. Is there anything you want to add in this interview?
Thanks. And no, your questions were so great. I really appreciated learning more about you as well and the amazing career you've had. And I appreciate the support that you give to so many artists and, lifting up women and lifting up people in your neighborhood. And, I think just like peace, love, and understanding, right? We're just all striving for that. We just finished our last show of the year with Elvis Costello's version of Peace, Love, and Understanding. What's so funny about it? And nothing funny at all. We all need it. And so just wishing everybody
Jordan, too.
peace and health and all good things. And thanks so much, Anne.
Thank you so much. And yeah, keep the joy and love to your daughter and
Thank
your
you.
bands.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.